Today's segment is geared towards the small-time, self-sufficient homesteader. The weekender with a day job, small-time entrepreneur, contractor, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad. You've got some land with some timber on it, or you know somebody that has trees on their land. Up until this point, you've been cutting firewood for your own personal use. Maybe here or there you sold a cord or two, and now you're starting to consider making some side money selling firewood. Or you want to go a step or two farther than that and you want to start a business, and maybe you're wondering, can I earn a living selling firewood? Well, I'm going to touch on the potentials, the upsides and the downfalls to both today. So stay tuned here on AmericanOutdoors.net. So before we get into the splinters and sawdust of this video, so to speak, I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions. Can you sell firewood and make money? Absolutely, yes. Can you sell firewood and earn a living? Yes, with an asterisk. Now, I'm going to give you 3 no's, but they're spelled K-N-O-W. Let's go. Knowing your market is one of the most important things you can do before you get started. Who's your competition? Are you surrounded by neighbors or people up the road from you that are selling firewood? Are there businesses, local companies that are also selling wood? Do you know the cost of a face cord or a rick or a full cord in your area of seasoned hardwoods? Now, if you live in the woods and you're selling from the woods, the chances are that the traffic count going past your place is not going to be very high. Most of your clients are going to be suburban, urban. In my instance, we get a smattering of people that are moving out to the country, and maybe they're new to this and they need some firewood for the first winter. But what that means is where your customers are is delivery. And I'm going to talk about the specifics of delivery in just a minute. Your market's also going to depend on where you're at. You know, Florida is different than Minnesota. Types of woods, the growing season, as well as the prices. Everything costs. Everything costs. From your chainsaw fuel to the chains to your splitter, your truck, your insurance, your safety gear, your chaps, license and registration, depreciation. It goes on and on and on. Many times it's very tempting when you start a business or even a sideline to willfully choose to ignore the details in running a small business. And the assumption is that you will make enough money to cover those details. Sit down and itemize everything, whether it's using a software like QuickBooks or just an old-fashioned paper general ledger. Itemize everything that you can think of, and then as you're sitting there, you're going to think of some more things. Some folks would rather hope for the best than plan for the worst, and that's a recipe for failure. Know your cost before you determine a price. Don't determine a price and then hope it's going to cover your costs. Living in the country, you're probably not going to be selling much firewood to your neighbors, so that means you're going to have to travel. You're going to have to determine if and how much you're going to charge for delivery. A popular phrase is pay yourself first. I'm going to advise in this instance that you pay off your equipment first. Even if it's just a sideline, it's good to know when you're entering your second season or your third season that you're not taking all of your profit and transferring it to pay off your debt. Worst case scenario, your business doesn't go anywhere, or you get tired of doing it for a sideline. You at least end up with toys that are paid for. Now this is similar to knowing your cost. Let's say that you sell a cord of firewood for $250. How long did it take you to go find that tree, cut it down, drag it in, bucket, load it onto a splitter, and then later stack it? If you find out that you're at about 15 to 20 bucks an hour, well, you can look at your business plan and you can do what you can to finesse that or maximize your income a little bit better. If you find out that you're only at minimum wage or worse, it becomes priority one. Another simple method to try and come up with some numbers, if you're just doing this for a sideline and you've got, say, a single bit splitter and a chainsaw, well, determine how long it takes you to process a cord of firewood. Let's say you can do it in 2.5 hours. All right. If you've got a business and you've got some higher end equipment, say a processor and a helper, you might be able to do a cord of firewood in, say, 40 minutes. Well, you can do that method to calculate basically what you're making. Now, of course, there's some more details, but that can give you a rough estimate. Also, streamlining your process. All right, the fewer times that you touch the wood, the better. If you are having to split the wood and then stack the wood, and then later you're going to have to load the wood onto a customer's car or truck, and then, or your trailer, and then deliver it, and then unload it and stack it again for the trailer, the less times you can touch the wood, the better. Having a station, so to speak, a wood splitting station where you can do a lot of the processes in one area can help streamline that. But if you're cutting the wood in the timber and then you're bringing it in and processing it again and then you're stacking it in a different place, well, that's labor intensive and it takes time, and that cuts into your profit. Selling firewood part-time and making, say, $3,000 over the winter, that's good money. You know, that can pay your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, Christmas, or just give it to your wife. Making $9,000, well, now you're getting up a level or two, and you know, that gets a little more serious. Your body will feel those 30 cords, and that's why reinvesting that money into good equipment will pay for itself in the long run. If you are even considering selling large volumes of firewood, one of the most important things you can do is build your inventory up right now. You can't have enough dry seasoned firewood. People by and large do not plan. And if you have a customer that comes by your place and they need firewood right now and you don't have seasoned firewood, well, you probably won't see them again. Now, green wood is only going to go up in price. Cut it now, and as it dries, it's going to be worth more. You can also mulch scrap pieces. You know, if you've got crotch cuts or knotty wood, you know, you could grind that up and mulch it if you have the equipment. You can also sell unseasoned firewood at a discount. You can sell smaller bundles like ricks and face cords, campfire wood. Normally, the smaller the volume, the more you get for it. That's one way that you can maximize your cost on lesser pieces as well as inferior wood. Mixed hardwoods also sell typically for less than, say, a face cord of hickory or oak. Selling firewood as a business is typically a subsect of another business. For example, a lumber yard, an arborist, a tree removal service that will sell firewood over the winter to enhance their income during the slow periods. Now, we don't all have 20, 30, 50, or 100 acres of timber just waiting for us to cut it down and sell it. But there are free resources out there. You could contact local tree cutting companies, for example, that have removed trees from sites, and they might be willing to sell or even give you trees. Also, you can look at cities. Once a storm's passed through, a lot of times there are individuals that need trees that have fallen on their property cut up and removed, and that's a free resource for you. whether it's in a sideline or a business. Now, how far do you want to go? Well, if you're just doing this for yourself in a sideline, an axe and a maul, even 30 years ago, that's not very appealing to me. At least a chainsaw and a splitter, you know, a small utility trailer. Now, if you're going to do this for a business, of course, you're going to need a decent truck, and a dump trailer would be nice, a processor, even a part-time crew. Can you make a living selling firewood? Yes. The asterisk would be that I don't know of anybody who sells firewood for a living solely, and that is their sole means of support, and they are able to meet their commitments simply selling firewood. The majority of the time, a lumber yard, an arborist, a tree service, somebody like that that's already handling wood, they do firewood sales and processing it as a sideline. It's a revenue enhancement during slow times, like for the winter. To be able to do that by yourself is going to require a specific market and an area, I suppose, of the country. So I'm going to say yes, it can be done, but you would be the exception, not the rule. Now, can you do it as a sideline? Absolutely. Whether you want to sell 10 cords a year or 30 cords, absolutely, you can do that. And it can be profitable. But you need to follow those 3 no's in order to get to the 2 yeses that I'm outlining here. Know your market, know your craft, know yourself, persevere. And if you want to do this on the side, you'll be successful. If you want to do it as a business, it's going to take hard work, and it's probably going to mean you have to diversify, but it can happen. Folks, I appreciate your comments. I'm sure I didn't cover everything. Let me know what I missed. Give me some positive feedback. If you've got negative, that's okay too. Anyway, thanks for watching us, and I hope you enjoyed this. And check us out again here at AmericanOutdoors.net. We're on Facebook, Etsy, Instagram, Twitter, Mix, our webpage. Love to hear from you. Thanks, folks, for watching, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.